Okay, let's talk generally about theme. When people are taught how to find theme in high school, they are taught that theme is the main idea, the underlying meaning of a text, and that the theme is universal. And they are taught that theme theme is this one word thing. So you can have a theme of love, of death, of good versus evil, of coming of age, of power and corruption, of innocence versus knowledge, of innocence versus corruption, of man versus nature, of heroism, of just a lot of things, but they're kind of one word things. Circle of life. I posit that the best themes are not vague, general, one word themes like that. Those themes do not get at the heart of any text. So let's start there. And those themes, the theme of love, it strips bland whatever it was that you really wanted to say and doesn't allow you to say the interesting thing that was actually on your mind. So if we take Frozen for example. My thing is that themes should be phrases that are specific to the text, right? And that in their specificity they find universalism. Okay, I'm going to use Frozen as an example. I have a few examples here. I couldn't think of any movie that we've all probably seen that was contemporary. So just go with me. I'll give you a few examples. I haven't seen Frozen in a few years since I was teaching kids. But Frozen, if you say the theme is love, then you completely miss the power of the Disney movie Frozen, right? The fact that these girls, these sisters, think they're on a pursuit for true love, and that true love is their male counterparts or male love interests, and they find that their true love is each other, the sibling relationship. So to say, oh, the theme is love, it misses what's important about this particular, I'm gonna call it film, because I need to elevate this example that I'm giving you that I'm kind of embarrassed about. So if we said instead, well, what are we trying to get at by talking about love and Frozen? We're trying to get at, I forget the characters' names. I've forgotten their names, but Elsa has to trust Anya, something, has to trust her sister with her secret. So there's something about honesty and trust that has to deal with love. And so this is also wrapped into family. So coming up with a phrase that can embody those things will get more at the theme that you see there. And if you said something like, the theme of this film is finding happiness and wholeness by trusting family with your secrets or something like that, then not only are you communicating a major idea of the text, but you are also still communicating an idea that is universal. It is not limited by a specificity, it's enhanced by a specificity. Another example, Hotel Rwanda, if you said, oh, the theme is death, you'd be missing it. If you said the theme is genocide, you'd be closer but still off, right? Hotel Rwanda is not about death or genocide, though those are important parts. So one thing I want to stress is that as a reader, you don't get caught up in the emotions that the characters experience or the reader experiences, or the events that the character experiences or the reader experiences, or the morals that they learn. It's more like, if you're trying to talk about theme, I'm more interested in the questions that the text is interrogating. The questions that the text is interrogating. So what are we learning through death in Hotel Rwanda, through the violence, through this? Not as a moral of the story, but as a question that's being pursued throughout the text. And I would say, and there are many answers to this question, but first of all, we've limited the question to like, what is death showing us here, right? So it's not that we're not using those broader themes, but we're not staying there, because we understand that those are training wheels that we used in high school, and now we're more advanced readers, so we want to do a more advanced thing. So what is death? What is being interrogated by the genocide that's happening here in the film Hotel Rwanda? And one of the many answers you might come to is that the film is interrogating the most devastating effects of hypercapitalism. You might come to the conclusion that hypercapitalism is used as a basis for racial distinction and racial prejudice. And those two things are still universal. You can still take those things and look out into the world and see where else they appear, right? It's not limited by a specificity, it's enhanced by it. The last thing, the last example I want to use is from The Lion King, just in case you haven't seen the other two films that I mentioned. Clearly I like Disney, so sorry. That's a thing. Anyway, Lion King, you might say one of the themes of The Lion King is manipulation, and the character who embodies this is Scar. Though we'll probably see manipulation happening with other characters too. You see it with Simba trying to manipulate the dodo bird, whatever that, anyway. To stop just at manipulation is not going to get you very far. It's not going to allow you to say something interesting and maybe something surprising and new, intriguing, But if you're like, okay, I'm thinking about manipulation, I'm thinking about Scar, I'm following this through, you might come to the conclusion that one of the major themes is the film is interrogating, because it's a film, is interrogating the ways that the structure of monarchy poisons sibling relations. And so what I'm really thinking about is the disinheritance. Scar is completely disinherited by his family, by his country, by his kingdom, right? And he's expected to be able to just be cool and be at the mercy of his brother at all times, be completely his life, his security, his all of that is at the mercy of his brother, because the monarchy disinherits secondborn. So maybe a theme that you can follow is the way that sibling relationships are poisoned by this monarchy structure. And this theme, though it is specific, it is universal. You can go into other texts, very old texts, very new texts, and look at the way, Shakespeare or whoever, Sophocles, and you can look at how monarchy impacts the family structure. So, or the family relationships, because they're under the monarchy structure. Anyway, so the moral of this story is, even though we don't deal with morals of the stories, but the question I'm interrogating here is the theme of this video is, please, when you're looking at themes, be specific and don't be afraid of being too specific. If you get to the place where you're too specific, I'll pull you back, but likely you will not get there. It's very difficult to get there. So good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of themes you guys come up with.